Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS, and now the time has come for us to finally face Kangaxx himself. And before the episode, I've done some preparations, so let's talk about our gear choices first. Senashira is going to have this Iron Stone that Kirinai normally uses. It's going to improve her Thaco and hit points a little bit, and she also has the ring that Imoen normally wears. That's going to provide her with an additional level 5, level 6, and level 7 spell memorization slot. She also has some scrolls and potions prepared, but we're going to talk about those a little bit later. Now on Jaheira we have these bracers of blinding strike at the ready, in case we need some improved haste. And I'm not sure if Jaheira herself is going to use that, or maybe Kirinai. It's going to depend on how the situation unfolds, but that's basically in case we need to deal with some planetars. Now Kirinai is going to have this Helm of Brilliance, mostly for the 40% fire resistance, not really for the sun ray, because we're not going to use sun rays or the improved Mace of Disruption in this encounter, not to make it too easy on ourselves. She also has spell immunity to abjuration and some potions of fire resistance prepared. Imoen has the same potions, and Edwin has our Book of Infinite Spells with spell turning that he's going to apply on himself. And now let's talk about the spells. On Animan I've memorized more Death Wards that we're going to need, and he also has the Storm of Vengeance, but I'm not going to use it either at all, or at least initially, just to allow Kangaxx to show us what he's got, because he would be interrupted by this Storm of Vengeance. So perhaps we're going to use it a little bit later in the fight, but we'll see. And the most changes, of course, occurred on Senashira, who, as usual, is going to be our main actress in the whole fight. So with the additional spell slots here, she can have a lot of spell shields, and she is going to need them, because this is going to be a two-phase encounter, and in the second phase, Senashira is going to basically focus for quite a long while to just surviving. So she's going to need these spell shields, especially since we don't have scrolls of spell shield. But when it comes to spell immunity, we can support ourselves with some scrolls. Then at level 6 she's going to have some globes of invulnerability and also spell deflection, and she is also going to have some safety nets of her own, like she's going to have this protection from magical energy and protection from the elements that she is not going to pre-buff with, but she's going to have those in case she is dispelled and needs to reapply her protections. Then also she has this improved mantle in case we have to deal with those planetars. And finally she has time stop. I'm not sure if we're going to need to use this spell, but this is going to be a decent choice in case we need to stabilize the situation and give Senashira some breathing room, and give her the opportunity to reapply some spell protections if she needs to and whatnot. So we'll see how this is all going to go. But first we have to get rid of our old spell trigger with the triple pierce magic, so take that, Jaheira. And we're going to wait a little bit before resting, because this kind of initiates combat. We're not going to be able to rest for a few seconds, and now we should be able to. So yeah, now we have our spells reloaded, and we are first going to set up a new spell trigger on Senashira, and that one is going to consist of Spell Shield, a Globe of Invulnerability, and spell immunity to abjuration. And that's for situations where Senashira is going to have to quickly reapply those protections in order not to get dispelled more. And we are going to talk about all of these situations as we kind of go on through the encounter. But now we are more or less ready. Of course, first we're going to have to pre-buff, because this is a serious encounter. So we are going to pre-buff with chaotic commands, those death wards. We're going to make ourselves immune to different elements and whatnot. We're going to need that remove fear as well. Alright, and Animan is going to start doing chaotic commands. Jaheira has one of them, and our mages are going to reapply their stone skins. Alright, so similar to the previous encounters, we're going to also have an immunity to fire on Senashira, and on Edwin we're also going to apply some protections from magical energy.
What do you want? Point the sword, and I shall strike. I'm busy. I hear you well enough.
So this is going to take a second, but we need to do all this to be safe here, because there are many, many ways in this encounter that we can perish. Alright, and now we can apply some death wards, and it's going to mostly matter on Senashira, because of course if she dies it's game over. And we are also going to get some death wards on Jaheira, Animan, and perhaps on Kiranai, but she has that avoid death. But on the other hand, it only lasts for 5 rounds. So this is going to kind of be a safety net for her if in case she gets dispelled. But it should be pretty safe on her on the other hand, because she does have immunity to abjuration that she can cast from a scroll on herself, and I think we're going to save one of those death wards for a little bit later to be safe. And now we can apply these potions of fire resistance that in combination with Imoen's ring or on Kiranai with her Helm of Brilliance, those are going to make them either immune, like on Imoen, she's going to be immune to fire, Kiranai is going to be 90% resistant, and also Animan is going to be 90% resistant. Jaheira is immune, and Senashira and Edwin are also immune through the spell.
Away from me, Edwin. It would be unfortunate if you were to disappear under a rock somewhere, though that might be more akin to your natural state.
Aye, you can mock me whilst we're in the very heart of your domain, druid. But do not push me very far. Even here, I am more than capable of ending your life.
So apparently this interior here is kind of considered an outdoor area. This banter should have, or should occur, preferably if we are outdoors in the woods and stuff. But this is also a pretty good retort that, without Jaheira's nagging, it would have been a very peaceful journey back to the city for Edwin. But anyway. Now we have all of those prepared. We can also get this potion of heroism on Senashira already. Now, I think this is going to be it. Now we need to concentrate on our mages. So we're going to have a round of spell shields on them.
Yes, master. What should I fetch now?
Then we're going to apply spell deflection and spell turning on Senashira and Edwin. Imoen is going to be slightly less buffed up. Imoen also has her own globe of invulnerability now. Now we're going to have a round of mirror images.
What is it now?
We are going to now haste everybody before applying our globes of invulnerability on our mages. That would of course make them protected from a level 3 spell like haste.
Go bother someone else.
You need your own globe, Edwin. And now just spell immunity to abjuration in order to protect our buffs.
I'm busy, okay? I'm busy.
And we will be ready to go in.
What is it? Without hesitation.
Alright, so this area gives us an autosave, and we cannot leave with just some party members. It's either we enter with everyone, or we leave with everyone, and I'm not going to leave this area until we are finished with the encounter. So we are going to spread out our mages a little bit, and the other characters are kind of going to try to hug this top right corner, which should make them safe for the most part. Like no other corner really, no other place in this room is as safe as this top right corner, as I've kind of found out through my experience in these fights. But this still, depending on how they are positioned, this still might not be completely safe, but it's our best bet if we don't want to have anyone affected by some spells. And I think now is going to be the time to apply spell immunity to abjuration on Kiranai. This is only going to last for 10 rounds, so I waited a little bit longer for that, and it's not going to be as reliable because it's not going to last for that long, but still. And now we can talk to Kangaxx and inform him that we have found all the pieces to reassemble his mortal form. Yeah, place the pieces in the tomb. The fools could not kill me.
If it must be
Right,
done.
now he's going to appear.
This place
And oh no, it appears that he has tricked us. Fools you are! Death shall reign upon the plains, and Kangaxx will violate all. But worry not, my savior. You shall be well rewarded. You will have the privilege of a sweet, painful death at my hands. Oh, I'm just giddy to receive that kind of reward. That sweet death. But anyway, at first Kangaxx might not seem so bad, because he has a level 30 Lich. We'll see what kind of protections he's going to have, but he has some spells at his arsenal that, well, probably, that we haven't seen before. And also, there is way more to this fight than just his Lich phase. But anyway, let's give him a chance to... Okay, so he has Spell Turning, Spell Shield, and Immunity to Abjuration. So 3 dispels here are going to be necessary on him. So we are going to use our mages to do all that. He doesn't seem to have spell immunity, improved invisibility. And from Senashira, we might use Ruby Ray on him and see what he's got. Alright, time stop first. Right, improve alacrity. Let's see what you can unleash. Alright, there is a Dark Planetar, so not Edwin, but Kangaxx here is going to show us the power of a Dark Planetar. There's going to be a Sphere of Chaos, which I am going to place somewhere far away on Senashira. I'm going to try, at least. Alright, this Dark Planetar is a real threat, because it can... He is, or she is problematic in a couple of ways. Of course, she has that Vorpal weapon. She essentially wields the Silver Sword. So she has a 25% chance that, unless we make a save, we are going to die instantly. And that Vorpal hit death is a permanent death. So we are not going to be able to resurrect a character that dies that way. Their portrait is just going to disappear from our list here. So we absolutely need to be prepared against that. And we have Death Wards for just this purpose. But on our mages, we don't have Death Wards because they have protection from magical weapons. So if the weapon cannot connect to us, then we're going to be safe. So we need to make Edwin safe here with protection from magic weapons. And Imoen preferably... Oh yeah, Imoen doesn't have protection from magical weapons of her own. She is just going to stay at a distance. Now I think we are going to apply that improved haste on Kirinai, I think. That's going to be the most beneficial, and she still has that Death Ward. Oh yeah, and also when it comes to the Planetar, of course it can cast Remove Magic, and so can Kangaxx, who, by the way, cast Spell Thrust at Senashira, but it's not going to work because she has Globe of Invulnerability. But anyway, as for the Planetar, she has a wide variety of good spells that she can unleash instantly without any casting time. We can't interrupt those spells, so we need really good damage against that Planetar, because if she gets to like badly injured status, she has a couple of full heals that she can just, you know, unleash instantly and just heal up back to 100%. And she also has some tough spells like Firestorm or Insect Plague, so we definitely don't want to have to deal with that. So we're going to have some improved haste on Kirinai, and we're going to get our guys from the top right in order to deal with this Planetar. And this position for the Sphere of Chaos, I really don't want it to have in this corner, because we are going to kind of have to stay on this bridge for a much longer time. I would prefer to leave it in the top left here, if possible, but I'm not sure if we are going to be able to kite the effect to there before it hits us. Okay, we are going to be able to. Alright, that's sweet. He has a contingency with protection from magical weapons. Alright, Edwin is protected. And now, Edwin, your next spell is going to be unleashing a breach on Kangaxx. We're going to have to deal with that. Imoen is going to retreat, and now we're going to get our other guys in. Let's give you that back. You know, for 20 seconds now, Kirinai has 9 attacks per round, and we need to kill this Planetar in that time, preferably, in the next round or two. And this Globe of Blades is going to hurt, but we have to do it. We could try a Remove Magic to maybe dispel this Planetar, but she is considered a level 25, so our Remove Magics are not going to be that successful. I am going to do it on Imoen. But anyway, now that we have the Sphere of Chaos safely in there, we can just continue with Senashira. Alright, we are dealing damage to that Planetar. Okay, Imoen cast her remove magic. You can start attacking as well. Yeah, that Globe of Blades triggered, but unfortunately we saved. Or everyone except Kirinai saved. She received some damage that might have been just from the weapon. Alright, the Planetar is dealt with, fortunately. Now Edwin is casting that breach. Let's retreat with our other guys. Let's have Imoen back in the... Okay, remove magic on Jaheira. That is going to be effective. Everyone except Kirinai, of course, who has the spell immunity to abjuration, was affected. So Animan and Jaheira are going to need to reapply some protections potentially, but I don't think we're going to need them for much more in this encounter. Now it's all up to really Senashira. And, well, a little bit our own mages are going to be able to help her, but this is really up to Senashira. It doesn't seem like Kangaxx cast his wish. I really was eager to showcase that, because he usually has the wish spell, and coming from that, I'm not talking about limited wish, but the level 9 wish spell, and he can get some really powerful effects from that, like a double duration time stop plus improved alacrity, for example, or he can use a breach that just hits everyone regardless of our spell protections. So that's why we have all of these like safety nets prepared, especially on Senashira. But anyway, now I think we need to prepare our characters for phase 2, and we need to kind of bunch them up in the top right corner, because Kangaxx is near death and he should trigger his conversation soon. Just try to kind of get them in that doorway near the stairs. Right, I think that should be good enough. And now with Kangaxx, also what's problematic is that sometimes it can take a little while for him to trigger the conversation that's going to initiate phase 2. I'm also switching to Arbane's sword because Kangaxx melee attacks and also his second phase attacks have the chance to hold us, and of course we want Senashira to be immune to that. And the number of attacks on her is not going to be that significant. Well, Kangaxx, do your thing. Okay, he has another protection from magical weapons. That's why we have these Scrolls of Breach on Senashira. Because of course she didn't have enough level 5 spell slots to memorize any breaches. And that's what scrolls are for. Alright, Kangaxx. Alright, here he goes. Still you do not understand. Not only was I to languish in the tomb for all eternity, but also I must be destroyed by another to be free. You have truly freed me, and the world will be burned to ash for your sin. Alright, so now phase 2 is going to initiate, where he is going to transform into a Demi-lich. And since this is our first encounter with the Demi-lich, let's talk a little bit about him. Let's actually see him. Alright, so he essentially is a floating skull. Now he is Kangaxx the Demi-lich. And in the unmodded game, what that means is that, well, first of all, what a Demi-lich is basically one of the ultimate spellcasters in the Forgotten Realms universe. They are basically liches who have evolved past the need to have an undead body, kind of slowing them down, I guess. And they are only this like floating skull. They usually evolve to have like superior magical resistance, and they're of course, you know, the ultimate spellcasters that have understood the nature of magic and reality beyond like almost any other creature. So in Baldur's Gate 2, in the unmodded game first, let's talk about that, because SCS does some improvements to him. So in the unmodded game, he is already immune to spell levels from 1 to 9, so he is only affected by a few select like high-level abilities. Then he requires +4 weapons to be hit, and even then he has 90% physical damage resistance, and he also has some pretty good regeneration. He also has a Demi-lich Howl that he's going to start out with, which is essentially Wail of the Banshee, that Death Ward stops, or you can just outrange it by not being too close to him. And then he also spams Imprisonment, which is a level 9 spell that requires the target to be touched. It's an abjuration spell, that's why our spell immunity to abjuration is so vital to keep on Senashira. And of course, if it lands on our protagonist, it's game over, and if it lands on someone else, they can be freed by the freedom spell. But that's the unmodded game. Now, in SCS, on top of all that I just mentioned, he is a level 35 mage with a gigantic mage arsenal. He also has 100 magic resistance, so even though he is vulnerable to like some specific high-level abilities like Implosion or Dragon's Breath, they can bypass his magic resistance, but he is also going to be pre-buffed to have fire resistance, and that one we cannot remove because he is immune to breach. And good luck having him dispelled when he is level 35, you know, dispelled by Dispel Magic or Remove Magic. He also has an increased casting speed by 4, so he casts spells much quicker. Also, his imprisonment becomes Trap the Soul, and I'm not sure about that. It might be Trap the Soul already in the unmodded game, I don't remember anymore from like before SCS, but this Trap the Soul is essentially imprisonment, but it can be cast at targets far away from him. It is a ranged spell. And then he has at least 2 spell strikes, and the scripting for those spell strikes is pretty cool, because he at least is going to save one of those for like until he is done with all of his other like anti-magic spells, because you know, kind of as a last resort he is going to use spell strike. And also that's because normally in the unmodded game a very effective strategy against him would be to use the green scroll of protection from magic, but in SCS of course spell strike dispels that, so he is prepared. In SCS he also sees through the protection from undead green scroll, and his melee attacks also can hold us. So of course we can lose in many ways against him. If we lose our protection or spell immunity to abjuration, we can get affected by that Trap the Soul spell and just lose. We can also get held by his melee attacks. That's why I've already switched to Arbane's Sword. That's going to protect us from that. And of course he has a full assortment of mage spells that we can die to in many different ways. That's why we have all of those protections on Senashira. So I think that is everything that we wanted to cover. Now let's allow him to do his thing. I am free. You shall be the first to feel my true power. So show us what you got. So I have the other members of our party like at max distance from him so that he doesn't imprison them, which wouldn't be the end of the world because we have some freedom scrolls to free them from such imprisonment, but still. We want this to be between Senashira and him. So he has improved invisibility through Shadow Door, he has also immunity to divination, he also has protection from magical weapons, and he has that Demi-lich Howl, is also protected from fire. So yeah, basically, how we are going to do this fight is we are going to basically have to outlast him. Yes, we are going to outlast a Demi-lich with Senashira. So that's why she is going to be completely focused on her defensives. First, we basically need to outlast all of his protections from magical weapons in order to get to him with our physical damage. And he is going to have in total like 3 or 4 of those, and he might also have 1 or 2 time stops, possibly some other tricks. So we're essentially going to have to survive for like around 2 turns. Maybe not so long, maybe like 15 or 18 rounds. We'll see about that. But yeah, he has Kelbin's Warding Whip, which is going to affect our spell shield, so we need to start casting another one. Alright, so we're safe against that, but of course that's not all. Okay, Spell Thrust is not going to be effective because we have Globe. I'm not sure about our spell immunity to abjuration, how long it is going to last still, after that whole fight with the Lich form. And what else do you have for us there, Kangaxx? This damage is largely inconsequential, because he does have good regeneration and he has more protection from magical weapons, but we have to incentivize him to cast that. Alright, our globe also vanished, so let's cast that manually, I think. We're not going to resort to our spell trigger yet, I think. Alright, so here comes Time Stop. Let's see what you have there. Alright, Spell Strike is going to be absorbed by our Spell Shield, and I think now we are going to have to, once this time stop ends, we are going to have to use our Spell Trigger immediately, just to immediately renew our Spell Shield. Alright. Because I think he might be casting another time stop already. Okay, and we didn't manage to renew our stuff, so let's see what his other time stop can bring. We of course are saving versus death against his hold, but we are not going to be held because we have Arbane's sword anyway. Alright, so he has another protection from magical weapons. And now, did he use both of his spell strikes already? Let me just check that. He had, no, I think he still has one more spell strike that we need to be wary of. He also has a spell sequencer with Stone Skin and both fire shields. Don't really care about that. Alright, now we have our own spell trigger, so we once again have spell shield, we have a renewed duration on our spell immunity to abjuration, and we have a globe again, so we're not going to be affected by spell thrusts. And I think we're going to use our minor spell sequencer to apply some mirror images and blur. Alright, now let's check this out. Okay, so another spell strike, so our spell shield got dispelled again, and I think we need one more spell shield just to be safe. I now regret using my minor spell sequencer because now we can't apply that spell shield already. I think he might be out of dispelling spells, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, we can't get to him yet. And also, we have the spell sequencer, which is going to renew our stone skins, renew our mirror images, and also give us Fire Shield Blue. And that's actually one of the very few sources that is going to affect him, so we can add a little bit more damage by reflecting cold damage onto him as he is attacking us in melee. Alright, so now we have Fire Shield Blue, and now let's check it out. Alright, so he has a spell trigger with spell deflection, immunity to abjuration, and another protection from magical weapons. Alright, so that might be his last. So 4 more rounds. If we survive, we should be able to get to him. See about that. Also, as you can see, although SCS actually makes him vulnerable to some higher level anti-magic spells, so that you could technically dispel his like spell deflection, spell immunities and stuff like that, it's way too troublesome and for basically no gain, because if you wanted to cast Implosion on him, for example, the fire damage would have been completely absorbed by his protection from fire that we cannot breach, or we can't really dispel, and the physical portion of Implosion would be affected by his 90% physical resistance, so there's largely no point in using spells like that against him, and especially since, he is immune to basically almost all spells in the game anyway. So now I'm just listening for the sound for his protection from magical weapons expiring, and then I think we are going to be able to get to him, and I think it just happened. And now we're getting to him. We have to just cut through his stone skins, and we're going to be fine. Symbol Fear is not going to affect us because we have Remove Fear. Alright, he has another protection from magical weapons, so this is not the end. This one might be his last. Come on, Kangaxx. What can you do there, buddy? Let's actually renew some mirror images. Once your protection from magical weapons expires... Okay, he has Shadow Door, but he should reveal himself. Alright. And now, let's see if we can get to him for real. He's not been able to really hit us, because we haven't been reflecting our cold damage onto him too much, it seems, or at all. But that is something that can affect him and add a little bit of damage. Alright, I think his stone skins are down. Come on. Alright, now we're getting to him, and now we're adding a little bit more cold damage. Of course, he also reflects some cold damage of his own on us, but we can shrug off this puny amount of damage. We have healing potions, and yeah, his 90% physical reduction here is visible, but full electricity damage he is taking, and now also cold damage. Alright, so now we should be able to get to him finally. And boom! Bite it, you scum! And down he goes. And our spell immunity to abjuration just expired, but we had scrolls of that prepared, and also another globe scroll. We had also another potion of heroism and some oils of speed to give us some more attacks, but yeah. Whoo! That's that's Kangaxx in SCS. But also, after we loot him and inspect our spoils here, I am also, as a bonus after this episode, going to post a very, very easy peasy cheesy way of killing him even in SCS. But I wanted to have a good epic fight with him, and I think that was pretty fun. Alright, actually, let's now get our other guys just huddled in the corner, scared to even come closer to that floating skull. It's okay, guys. It's alright. He is no more. Right, now we're going to give this to Edwin. We can give these scrolls back to Kirinai. We can get our gear sorted a little bit. I'm going to do that in between episodes more, but just to give ourselves some space here. And here we have this ring that he had equipped. We can identify that, and this is the Ring of Gax. And the description here actually tells us the full story behind Kangaxx. So he was extremely evil, and in the ancient times of the Netheril Empire, a cadre of mages fought and imprisoned this Demi-lich. He was already a Demi-lich back then, but they were unable to truly destroy him, so they became liches themselves to guard over his separated remains of his golden body. And the construction of the ring may have led to their enmity. Anyway, this ring here is amazing. It's basically a ring of protection +2 that stacks with other protective items. It also gives us 10% magic resistance, which is really nice to stack with some other things. It also gives us double the regeneration of a ring of regeneration, because this one regenerates 1 hit point per 3 seconds instead of 1 hit point every 6 seconds, so we can regenerate 2 hit points per round with it. It also gives you an immunity to disease and poison. You can cast invisibility from it, and you can get 3 times improved haste, but also only for 10 seconds. So this is not that great, but still, for dual wielding characters, you can have some improved haste uses in a pinch. For like almost 2 rounds. So this is the ultimate ring in the game. And we are probably going to use it on Anoman and on Kirinai, depending on situation. We will be able to stack it with amulets of magic resistance, this one and another one that we're going to get later in the game. And yeah. So we're going to get to that a little bit later. And now that we are done, we are going to kind of start preparing for some other adventures. But like I said, before this episode ends, I'm also going to do a little bonus at the end and show you a different way to defeat Kangaxx. And yeah, I'll see you then. Okay, so here we are about to fight Kangaxx once again, but this time we have some traps placed upon his spawn point. We've used all 5 of Kirinai's traps. I think 4 might have sufficed, but let's give him a warmer greeting. And these traps are going to completely destroy his Lich form. Alright, so phase 1 done. And now when he transforms into his Demi-lich form, we might even give him a chance to put up his defenses, but none of it is going to matter, because we are going to cast some sun rays. One of them sometimes might be enough, but just to be sure, we're going to cast 1 from Daystar and 1 from our Helm of Brilliance. And that's going to completely destroy him before he has a chance of doing a single thing. Because Sunray is one of these few select spells that can still affect him, I think because it's the ultimate anti-undead spell, and I think that's because he is still vulnerable to it. And the portion of Sunray that deals damage, the bonus damage to undead, bypasses magic resistance. So as you can see, the portion of the damage that affects everyone was stopped by Kangaxx's magic resistance, but the anti-undead portion was not. And Kangaxx only has 50 HP, but because of his physical resistances and because of his regeneration, even burning through that 50 HP can be a little problematic in normal circumstances, but here, with some burst damage coming from our 2 sun rays, he had no chance. He just got completely blown up in 2 seconds, and that's it. That's how you can defeat Kangaxx, even with a full installation of SCS. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our fights against Kangaxx, and I'll see you in the next episode.